You are Locked On Braves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Braves POSTCAST, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. I'm Grant McAuley, coming to you after a frustrating loss for the Atlanta Braves on Tuesday night at Truist Park. 12-10, the San Francisco Giants were able to outlast the Atlanta Braves. This was a back-and-forth seesaw affair between these two teams, and we saw that the Giants, they are going to be a challenging club. Braves winning in dramatic fashion in the opener and losing in frustrating fashion 24 hours later. I would tell you that's baseball, but I think you already know that, and we're going to talk all about it here in this edition of the Braves POSTCAST. Appreciate you joining me tonight. Make sure you subscribe to the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notified every time we drop a new episode, and make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcast. Let's jump right into this one here because I think that from the get-go, it felt like it could be one of those nights at the ballpark for the Braves. And when I say one of those nights, I don't mean one of those great and memorable nights where everything's going to go right for you, or flashing back to 24 hours prior where you were going to win in dramatic fashion, though that was still on the table for the Braves down to the very final inning, but it was not to be on this evening. It was game number 69 for the Braves, game 2 of 4 in the series against the San Francisco Giants. Let's go inside the line score here. Giants now 38-29 as they scored 12 runs on 14 hits, 6 of those against Braves starter Spencer Strider, who got a no decision in this one, but had the roughest start of his young career. Again, 12 runs, 14 hits, 1 error, 5 men left on base. Braves now 39-30 after the defeat, 10 runs on 12 hits, an error, and 5 men left aboard for the Braves. Darren O'Day, the loser in relief, now 1-1. Tyler Rogers, a winner in relief, is 1-3 for the Giants. No save in a game that lasted 3 hours and 28 minutes, and a crowd of 35,384 were on hand to see it. They saw the Braves hit 4 home runs in this game as well. Marcell Ozuna hit his 13th. Matt Olson had 2 home runs and is now up to 10 on the year. And Ronald Acuña Jr. with his 7th home run of the season, part of a 3-hit night for him. So a good night for the Braves offense, but if I tell you they scored 10 runs, you'd already know that. But as you look at what the Giants were able to do in scoring their 12, they got to work early. They scored 4 times against Spencer Strider, and that was really the beginning of what felt like it was an off night for the Braves righty, who was unable to get through 4 innings in this game. 3 2/3, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a home run, a hit batsman, just pretty much one in every column for Spencer Strider. And a lower velocity in this, I think, is really what jumped out to most people watching this game. Whereas you expect Spencer Strider to be throwing 99, 100, 101 miles an hour, really through the first, 4 or 5 innings of some starts, you'll see him peppering that triple-digit fastball. In this one, it was more 96, 97 with the very occasional 98. So he may not have had his A-plus stuff fastball-wise, and I don't think he had the crisp command of his secondary pitches in order to make those adjustments and really keep the Giants, off the scoreboard and off the base paths to start with, and then off the scoreboard as the case goes, because one begets the other. I don't think the strike zone really helped him out a lot, but I can't point at that and say, well, he got squeezed to the point that that's the big reason why. The lower velocity was one thing, and then the overall command and feel for his pitches just did not seem to be there in this game. And one of the big reasons why, as you look at Spencer Strider's line, it was the roughest start of his young career. We'll talk a lot about what the Braves offense did in this game. We'll talk a little bit about the Braves bullpen as well. Before we do that, though, I want to let you know about our friends at Built Bar, because they're always coming out with amazing new flavors. For the first time ever, Built is introducing the new Mud Pie flavor in both Mud Pie Bar and Mud Pie Puffs. Rich whipped cream, chocolate mousse, smothered in 100% real chocolate, and topped with cookies and cream crumble. Sounds exactly like something that I would like to pick up and perhaps throw in my backpack to take out to Truist Park in case we have another long night and another 22 runs between these two teams tomorrow. These are only available for a limited time, though. Make sure you visit Built.com. Taste the deliciousness for yourself and use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. That is the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. There was some good stuff happening for the Braves, and it was on the offensive side, so let's jump into that. Matt Olson, a big night. He had a go-ahead 3-run homer that really felt like that might be a turning point in this game. It got Atlanta ahead 5-4. That was the first of 2 home runs for Olson, who had 6 RBI on the night and is now up to 10 home runs on the season. As you look back to that series in Chicago, it felt like maybe Matt Olson, from the swing that he was putting on balls and from the 3-double game, of course, that he might be starting to find it a little bit for the first time since really early April, and maybe get on a hot streak that the Braves could use out of their, who I presume to be their cleanup hitter more nights than not. Well, Olson gave you a little bit more to enjoy on this night, unfortunately, in a losing effort. Ronald Acuña Jr. had a good day at the plate. He's been looking for one of those. 3 for 5, a home run, couple of runs knocked in, and a couple of runs scored. Mentioned Marcell Ozuna had a 2-run homer in this game, his 13th of the year. And Dansby Swanson turned in a 2-hit night as well. So the Atlanta offense, they were really clicking. They were doing what they needed to be doing. And when you look at what the Braves did in the run column, 10 runs in a loss, I tracked this back on Baseball Reference to see when is the last time that the Braves scored that many runs or more and lost a baseball game. And I tracked it back to a game that I think most everybody would like to forget, and that was April 14th of 2018. That was when the Braves got up to a big lead and were playing the Cubs at Wrigley Field, and then an icy rainstorm happened for what felt like the final 3 or 4 innings, if not more, in that game. You had to almost wonder why you were playing at that point. But the Braves, they lost that game 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago now, by a 14-10 score. Well, on this night, it was a 12-10 score, but no less frustrating for the Braves, even if the elements weren't what the problem was at Truist Park on Tuesday night. The bullpen, I think there were some decisions that Brian Snitker is facing every single night. And sometimes when they work, you look like a genius. When they don't work, then the second guessing begins. And that's something that goes with the manager's job and the duties of anybody who's making decisions. In hindsight, I think we all would probably change a thing or two here, but it didn't work out on this evening for, in particular, Darren O'Day. He came on after Dylan Lee had come in and kind of restored some order following Spencer Strider getting chased with 2 outs in the 4th inning. Lee tossed an inning and 2/3 of scoreless relief. He'd only thrown 22 pitches, and he was removed from the game in the 5th inning with 1 out, and there was no trouble brewing. Well, Darren O'Day came in, a couple of base hits, a walk. I mean, and those hits, they got through the shift, and the shift is something that I know a lot of folks like to debate. I personally think that it takes away far more hits than it gives, but on this night, it was kind of the opposite for Darren O'Day. It got him in the soup. Colin McHugh came in. He's been struggling in both his outings since coming off the COVID IL, and the Giants were able to get right back in the game, get right back in the lead, and ultimately able to build it up to the point where the Braves were not able to overcome it at that point. But a rough night, kind of an unfortunate, unlucky night for Darren O'Day. And you just had to kind of wonder if Dylan Lee had stayed in and maybe been able to finish the 6th inning with a manageable pitch count, and perhaps that he would have been able to give the Braves just a little bit more that would help bridge them over. But he did get the 5 outs. It was a good outing for him, and those were kind of few and far between in the Braves bullpen on this night. O'Day and McHugh were knocked around a little bit. Jackson Stevens was also in the 9th inning, unfortunately, on the wrong side of a 3-run rally for the San Francisco Giants, as they already came in leading 9-8. The Braves had just made it a 1-run game, and it was a leadoff walk, a bad play by Austin Riley at third base. He dove, not sure that he needed to, certainly didn't intend to kick the ball into the Giants' dugout. That put runners at second and third. You intentionally walk so you don't have to deal with Jock Peterson. And the next thing you know, you've got a run-scoring single that gets one across and makes it a 10-8 game. And then a 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run single by Wilmer Flores, who was thrown out for the final out of the 9th inning. The damage was done, though, as those 3 runs came across, 12-8 at that point. And then Matt Olson's 2-run homer made it a little bit closer, but proved to be too little too late in the 9th inning as the Braves fell by that 12-10 score. So a frustrating night, some bullpen changes that did not work. The offense did more than it needed to do, but for Spencer Strider and the rest of the Braves pitching staff on this night, it just was not their evening, and they will look to do what you have to do in baseball, and you have to turn the page and move on to the next game, and the Braves will have an opportunity to jump back in the win column, secure at least a series split if they can get a good start from Charlie Morton, who's coming off his best of the season. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. I want to let you know, though, this episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. Go to rockauto.com right now. See all the parts available for your car or truck. You'll find amazing selection and reliably low prices. Make sure you write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. All the parts your car or truck will ever need can be found at rockauto.com. The Braves, meanwhile, will be looking for that victory behind Charlie Morton in Game 3 on Wednesday night as they tangle with the Giants in Game 3 of this 4-game set. Morton is 4-3, ERA just over 5 now, as he was able to trim better than half a run off of it with 7 shutout innings against the Cubs last time out, 9 strikeouts for him. He's coming off a 12 strikeout performance before that. Started to get some swings and misses. starting to feel perhaps a little bit more like the Charlie Morton of old. He's going to be tested against a more versatile and a more challenging lineup this time around, as the Giants just have the ability to platoon and mix and match different pieces and find ways to make it a little bit more frustrating. And we found that out for sure on Tuesday night as they piled up their 12 runs. Charlie will look to stop that from happening, keep his momentum going as he matches up with Carlos Rodon, who is 6-4 with a 2.84 ERA. 7:20 p.m. Eastern Time is the first pitch at Truist Park. Game 3 between the Giants and the Braves, as Atlanta looks to get back ahead in this series and grab at least a series split with a victory behind Charlie Morton. Again, Carlos Rodon will be on the mound for the San Francisco Giants. Appreciate you joining me here on the Braves Postcast, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, and make sure that you are subscribed to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcast. Once again, a frustrating loss for the Braves on this night at Truist Park as they fall to the San Francisco Giants by a 12-10 score. I'm Grant McAuley. Look forward to joining you soon on the Braves Postcast, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. And until then, so long, everyone.